Alright, it's time to talk about Terminator Genisys. Right, I made a point to go into this movie completely neutral. Let me start off by saying that because I hated Terminator Salvation, right? When that ended and it hadn't finished the story, I think, oh god, there's going to be another one of these. However, when it was announced that Arnie was coming back, there was that renewed my interest, thinking, oh, okay, this ain't going to be so bad. Because my main gripe with Terminator Salvation was the fact that Arnold wasn't in it, and also I didn't like the fact that the entire movie took place in the futuristic setting, post Judgment Day. Now, this movie, Terminator Genisys, this was more like it. Let me just, plain and simple, I really liked this movie. I really did. I made every effort though to go into this as neutral as I could, and I tried as best I could to stay cold on this movie, not read into it, although of course it's hard to say I went into it cold given how spoiler filled the trailers were. That was a mistake. I agree with those complaints that the trailers gave away too much. That was unfortunate, but I still really enjoyed this movie. I really dug this movie. I had a hell of a lot of fun. This movie was a hell of a lot of fun. I appreciate it's gotten mixed reviews. A lot of the negative comments have been made about this movie. That's fine. I absolutely loved this film. I'm at this point. I went through a phase where I had a very nasty habit of being something of a cinema snob, where every time a new movie came out, oh, it's new, therefore it's going to suck. I am getting better. Like I say, this was a prime example, just went into it, I'm going to give this movie a chance. I did the same sort of thing with like Jupiter Ascending, had a hell of a lot of fun with that movie, but this one more so. This one, I really enjoyed myself with this. Of course, Arnie's back. This movie, they spend quite a bit of time in the future, post Judgment Day. But for me, it was the right amount. Obviously, it's not a particularly large amount of time to spend there, but I thought they spend a fair bit of time there. I thought it was just the right amount to set things up to get. But yeah, just the right amount of post Judgment Day setting. Of course, the main body of this movie takes place in modern day. Well, I should be more precise. We go back to 1984 to begin with, of course, when the events of the first film take place, but then we travel through time into the future, into 2017, so it wouldn't be completely accurate to say it takes place in present time. It does take place in the future, but not as far into the future. One thing I would like to say about the 2017 setting, probably quite a realistic depiction of what 2017 is going to be like. It's not an overly futuristic depiction, with like hoverboards flying around and stuff like that. No, it was pretty much like 2015 is now. So that was a bit of a change, not to see an overly futuristic future, if that makes any sense. But yeah, this movie, like I say, it was a lot of fun. It was great. I think people have said this, but it is essentially like a love letter / fan fiction to Terminator and Terminator 2, more so the first film. But yeah, references to Terminator 2 in it as well. Like I say, I think that is my continuity now for the Terminator series. Terminator, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, and then straight on to Terminator Genisys. I think James Cameron said this is kind of like the true Terminator 3. I would very much agree. I really would. If I was to rank them, the big question, I've got to put the original, I've got to keep that at the top. I love the first one. So yeah, I'd put Terminator at the top, then Terminator 2 Judgment Day, because that is a fantastic sequel. It really is. I can understand why so many people consider that to be the best movie in the franchise. It really is. That ending, the ending to Terminator 2 still friggin' gets me. That is so sad. A lot of it is Edward Furlong kills it in that scene. It's fantastic ending to Terminator 2. So yeah, Terminator 1 in first position, then Terminator 2, then Terminator Genisys, and then I'd probably put Terminator 3, then at the bottom Terminator Salvation. But Terminator 3 and Terminator Salvation, I would happily just cast them aside and just stick with that trilogy, 1, 2 and Genisys. That is my continuity for the Terminator franchise. This movie, it was great, the time travel in this, but yeah, it is like a huge love letter and fan fiction. It's like in Warriors Orochi, you know, where you have the redux levels. That's what it's like. That's what this movie is. This movie is Terminator meets Back to the Future Part 2. It really is. So obviously we start Jay Courtney playing Kyle Reese. Jay Courtney a lot better here than he was in Die Hard 5, but I think Die Hard 5, obviously a lot of that was down to writing and direction. Bad writing and direction, but that's not for here. Jay Courtney was a lot better here. I liked him. Obviously he's not Michael Biehn, but he's not trying to be. I don't think. He's just doing his own thing with the role, and I think that was the wisest decision. Like Tom Hardy with Mad Max, he's not trying to do a Mel Gibson impression. Jay Courtney here, he's not trying to do a Michael Biehn impression. The actress playing Sarah Connor, I'm sorry, I can't remember her name. I know. Complete ignorance on my part, and I do apologise, but she was really good. She was brilliant. She was very, very good. And of course, Arnie is as great as ever. He still looks great, by the way. You know, in the action sequences, he's still doing really well. You look at Stallone in The Expendables, the amount of body doubles he needs, and it's quite obvious in parts. Here, it was quite well done. Obviously, yeah, probably was some stunt doubles, body doubles involved. Probably even some CGI Arnolds running around in there. But it didn't look obvious, and it looked as though Arnie did quite a lot of that stuff himself. So, props to Arnie for doing that. He did really well. And it's nice to have Arnie back in a film where he's in it all the way through. Like I say, as much as I love Expendables and Expendables 2, that's one of my criticisms. He's so underused in those movies, you know. If he comes back for the 4th Expendables, which hopefully he will do, hopefully he will be in it for the duration all the way through. He needs to be, because Arnie's awesome. I was saying the other day, you know, in that eternal debate between fans of 80s action movies, you know, are you a Stallone guy or are you a Schwarzenegger guy? I'm with Schwarzenegger. I don't particularly like Stallone, but again, that's not for here. But I am quite a big Schwarzenegger guy, and it was just great to see him back in this movie. He's so likeable, and Brad Jones was saying, you know, when you watch this movie, you can tell he's having a blast coming back and playing the Terminator again. He really is. One thing I do want to talk about is the relationship between the Terminator and Sarah Connor in this, or as I'm sure you've seen by now, as Arnie is listed on the credits, not the Terminator, the Guardian. I thought that was pretty cool, actually. But yeah, a slight variation here. I think this is the first time we've seen a Terminator sent back specifically to protect Sarah Connor. Because of course, yeah, Michael Biehn and Jay Courtney, they've been sent back to protect Sarah Connor, but of course Arnie in Terminator 2 was sent back to protect John Connor. Of course, Arnie in the first film was sent back to kill Sarah Connor. But I don't think we've specifically had a Terminator sent back to protect Sarah Connor. Yeah, that was a nice touch. But the chemistry between those two and the storyline, I really enjoyed that, because the storyline is that the Arnie in this movie, he was sent back at a time even before the Terminator from the original movie shows up. So before the Terminator in 1984 arrives, Arnie was already there years beforehand to protect Sarah Connor when she was a little kid. We're talking about maybe 9, 10 years old. Yeah, because her parents were killed by another Terminator, but fortunately Arnold was there to save her, and essentially he's been raising her and preparing her. So he's been kind of like her dad for the past, like, 15, 20 years. They have some really lovely moments between each other in this. I was thinking earlier, basically the way to describe it is, Arnold in this movie is to Sarah Connor what Kurt Russell is to Kate Hudson, if you follow. Yeah, that was a really nice touch. It's really nice. It was one of my favourite parts of this movie. Yeah, that was a really nice. But now I've got to talk about the 1984 stuff in this movie. Right, this is a mixed barrel, this, because a lot of the 1984 stuff was great in that it was shot-for-shot remake of the first movie, and the accuracy in some parts was fantastic, right? Because in some parts it looked identical to the original movie, right? The most specifically the scene where Kyle Reese is running from the police and he goes into the clothes store. That store looked identical to the store from the original film. I'm convinced it was the same goddamn store. They probably went back to 1984 specifically to film in that same location. That was fantastic, and during that sequence there's shot-for-shot reenactments of Jay Courtney doing everything Michael Biehn did in that sequence, you know, hiding behind the racks of clothing, you know. He picks up his trainers, you know, holds them against his feet to do the test, picks the same goddamn trench coat off the peg, and we even have that great scene where he hides in one of the changing rooms, and we see the foot come down. he just put the trainers on, and even fastens the tape exactly the same. This was fantastic, right? But then on the other side of the coin, we have scenes which just look absolutely ridiculous, right? Because there's a couple of times during the 1984 stuff where it cuts to a wide-angle shot of LA, right? These wide-angle shots, no effort has been made whatsoever to make it look like 1984. It just looks like 2015 Los Angeles. What the hell is going on? It's like two different people in charge of doing those particular stuff. Like, I'll handle the exterior shots. Hey, you go and handle the chase through the clothes store. Fine, let's go away and do that. Looks completely out of place. And some of the shots where it's tracking through the street, I swear there's people in the background just out in the street, and they're just dressed like in modern clothes. It looks so out of place. And then we cut to, of course, where 1984 Terminator comes upon those group of thugs, you know, give me a clause, you know the line. As Brad Jones said in his review, not Bill Paxton and friends, but those three guys look very much like what Bill Paxton and his friends do in the first film, you know, in terms of their appearance. Completely jarring, totally jarring. When you contrast it with what we've just seen the street, and there's guys stood in the street wearing jeans and a hoodie. I'm not saying they didn't have hoodies back in 1984. I'm just saying when you take that and contrast it with what we see in the next scene, you know, you've got them all dressed up in the leather, the denim. You've got that guy in, you know, the grey outfit and those awesome leather boots that Arnie takes in the first film, you know, with like the metal chain wrapped on, so you've got that awesome click sound every time Arnie walks somewhere. I love those boots, man. First time I watched that goddamn film, those boots are awesome. Yeah. And of course that's the scene where 1984 Terminator meets up with older Terminator, you know, I've been waiting for you, and they duke it out there, and then that's a pretty cool scene. That was a lot of fun to watch. Yeah, it's probably a highlight of the film. Now let's talk about the T-1000. It was great that he popped up. Shame Robert Patrick couldn't have come back. Shame even Linda Hamilton couldn't have come back in some capacity, you know? But yeah, the T-1000's there, and it turns out that he's been sent back as well. The idea being he's there waiting for Kyle Reese to kill him when he comes back, so that 1984 Terminator can go and kill Sarah Connor, you know, unhindered. Of course, it doesn't quite go down that way, because obviously older Terminator and Sarah Connor have not only been waiting for 1984 Terminator to arrive, but also they know that the T-1000's there and they're waiting to deal with him as well. So basically, essentially, this is one huge redux, as I said before, and Sarah Connor even says to Kyle Reese, you know, the 1984 you were told about, that's gone. It's completely different, you know. Well, the tagline of the film is, you know, new mission, new fate, and that's essentially what it is. So, you know, everything we thought we knew from Terminator 1 and 2, that is no more. Like, this is a different timeline we're in now. This is a different 1984. You know, so the new mission is we've got to travel to 2017 and kill Skynet, or Genisys, as it is masquerading. Genisys is kind of like Skynet's pseudonym in the movie. You know, it's basically masquerading as, you know, this huge global network that's going to launch in the next few days. The idea is we'll go to 2017 a couple of days before it's launched and blow it up at its source. Kind of like let's go to Cyberdyne and, you know, go blow it up. And then, of course, we go to 2017, and then John Connor shows up again. And of course, it's not a spoiler. I wouldn't have said, but the trailers already give it away, so I'm not spoiling anything. John Connor has been turned into a Terminator. God damn it! Yeah. You know, that would have been a genuinely great twist. They shouldn't have gave that away. You know what? The trailer for this movie, it's very much like, do you remember the Forever Young trailer? Forever Young, that's one of my favourite movies. The trailer is horrendous because they give the twist away in that movie. Like, the trailer gives away the twist in that movie, like the trailer for Terminator Genisys does for this movie. God damn it! What a disaster. Two horrible trailers, the Forever Young trailer and Terminator Genisys trailers, horrible. Yeah, it's not fair. It's not fair. You should have the choice about whether you want to watch trailers, but when you go see movies in the theatre, you don't really have much say, do you? Which is a shame. But no, never mind. Yeah, then obviously John Connor shows up, and basically he becomes the big bad of this movie. Like I say, 1984 Terminator and the T-1000 are dealt with in the first 25 minutes of the movie, in the 1984 segment, and then of course when they travel to 2017, then they've got to deal with John Connor Terminator, and it turns out that it's not a Terminator that's been created to look like John Connor. John Connor has actually been turned, his like DNA effectively has been modified to turn him in, it's kind of like part human, part Terminator. It's kind of like the next stage up, like you have Arnie, the T-800, then you have the T-1000, then you have this. It's it's the new model, biggest and baddest yet. Yeah, so John Connor is the big bad of this movie, and so of course he's trying to stop Arnie, Kyle Reese, and Sarah Connor from blowing up Cyberdyne. And then chaos ensues. Chases down the Golden Gate Bridge, helicopter chases through the city, all out. Like I say, this really is the movie that Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines should have been. I'll never forget how underwhelming that goddamn movie was. This movie, on the other hand, Terminator Genisys, this delivers, I think. That's what I think. Obviously, mixed reviews, fair enough. There's always going, that's fair enough. But I thought this was a really fun movie, and it really delivered. A lot of really great action sequences. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I want to say. I don't want to, like I say, go into much more, but one thing I will say as well, it was nice to see an aged, like Brad Jones said, it's nice to see an aged Terminator, because obviously we're in 2017, Arnie's obviously the Terminator can age, because obviously it's proper human tissue that he's been clothed in, for lack of a better term, so obviously it'll age, and the hair will grey, you see it in the trailer, because the way it works is, not Connor McLeod at all, sorry, I've got Highlander on the brain, as I so often have over the past few months. Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor, there we go, they travel through time because they've managed to construct, the Terminator and Sarah Connor back in 1984, they've managed to construct their own time travel device that Skynet built. They've managed to reconstruct it, and they take the chip from 1984 Terminator to use, to activate power. It's the final component they need to be able to make this time travel device operational. So the way it works is Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor there travel through time, and the Terminator, he quote unquote takes the long way, so he's gonna go in real time, so to speak, preparing for their arrival in 2017, so he'll be getting all the equipment, all the ammo ready, doing a reconnaissance, finding out, what they need to know. So of course he ages, because like I say, from 1984 to 2017, so he's going in real time, so he ages. But of course, since Sarah and Kyle travelled through time, they don't look any older. So that's basically how that works. For those of you who are wondering, why do we see, brown-haired Arnold in part of the trailer, then grey-haired Arnold later on? That's basically why. But yeah, one of the great things was seeing an older Terminator, because they have this recurring thing where his joints, for lack of a better term, his circuits aren't as sharp as they used to be. There's parts of the movie where they fail on him, his hand malfunctions, or his knee even gives out at one point. So that was a lot of, it was fun. And you know what I really liked? It was a great way of adding new threat to the film, because of course, you know, the threat in Terminator 2, you know, fair enough, we've got the original model Terminator in Arnold Schwarzenegger, but we've got this new and improved Terminator in Robert Patrick, the T-1000. You know, he's bigger, he's better, he's faster, you know, he can do different things, you know. So how the hell is this older model going to beat this new and improved version? So we've had that, and then we kind of get a rehash of that in this movie. You know, we've got an older model versus an even newer, even more improved, so bigger and better yet again. You know, this is even better than the T-1000, this John Connor Terminator. But it's not just an older model, it's an older model. So it's not an original model that's fresh off the production line. No, this is a battle-worn original model. So he's not going to be at the top of his game to begin with, and even to begin with, he was still at a disadvantage. So it was a great way of adding new threat, and you know, hold on. Arnie, he could conceivably lose this fight, you know. So that was really good. Yeah, but again, it was just it really feels like a love letter / fan fiction to the Terminator movies, and that's why it's so much fun. Of course, great action, looks good. You can see the money on screen. It looks fantastic. But yeah, I know it's gotten mixed reviews. Obviously, a lot of people have been negative towards it. I would recommend it, and I will say this as well. The PG-13 rating I appreciate. I know the pain of PG-13. It is a pain. I actually looked on the Cineworld website, right here in the UK, Cineworld, looking at the list of films that are currently on at the cinema. Obviously, the way the system works over here, you know, you've got PG, you've got 12A, 15 and 18. Would you believe at the moment there is not one 18 rated film shown on at the theatre? Now that just speaks for itself. It just shows you what the modern film industry is like now, you know. But here, the PG-13 rating in this movie, I didn't have a problem with it. It wasn't a problem, I don't think. It didn't feel watered down, I didn't think. Although, when it comes out on Blu-ray and DVD, we could very well be getting an extended, harder cut, as we so often do with a lot of films these days. But the theatrical cut that I saw today, I didn't have a problem with the PG-13 rating. I don't think it took away or impacted really. It was still really fun action sequences, so if you're worried about that, I don't think it's much of a problem here. Certainly not as much of a problem as it was in Taken 3. My god. Hey, good news, if you live in the Taken 3 universe, if you get shot or if you get your throat cut, there'll be little to no blood, so don't worry about it. If you're thinking about killing someone, doing someone in the Taken 3 universe, feel free. Cut the throat from ear to ear, there'll be no blood. And guess what? This is great. You can even lay them on a bed with white bed sheets. It won't stain. It's fantastic. But no, back to this movie, because of course that's not for here. Back to this movie, Terminator Genisys. Yeah, the PG-13 wasn't a problem. Certainly not for me. Yeah, I'd recommend it. Yeah, that's my final thought. There was some really nice moments, some, you know, a nice homage to Terminator 1 and 2, and some nice new stuff added in as well. Some nice stuff we hadn't seen before, particularly that relationship between Sarah Connor and the Terminator, that father-daughter type relationship was really nice to see. And of course, yes, we see Arnold kick some ass in this movie. He throws down with the John Connor Terminator twice, and it is awesome. So yeah, if you're thinking about going to see this, I hope this has helped you out to make some sort of decision. If you do decide to go, I hope you enjoy it. If you've seen it already, I hope you did enjoy it, and I hope that you agree with some of the points that I've made. So this pretty much brings this review to a close. Thank you for sticking with me. Sorry it's been all over the place, as my reviews so often are, but thank you for sticking with me. And like I say, if you go, enjoy it. Thanks for watching, guys, and I shall see you all next time. And of course, please feel free to share your thoughts on the movie in the comments. Thanks everyone. See you later. Bye.